All right, y'all, g'day going. It is the weekend. I hope you're going to have a great weekend. I hope you're staying, I hope you're staying warm if you're in the northern hemisphere, which most watching probably aren't. I hope you're staying cool and hydrated if you're in the southern hemisphere, which most of you watching this probably are. Because we're going to start this out with the theme here is stuff you wouldn't believe if you didn't see it. But we're going to be starting it out with temps you wouldn't believe if you didn't see it or feel it. The heat is still going hella strong. It is summer after all in Australia. But man, oh man, Australia can get very hot, especially compared to some averages in other countries. Take a look at these posts right off the bat. So first of all, this one really got me, actually. This is the temperature in Central Coast Australia today. My car has leather seats. They're not thrilled about it. First of all, I see the 18C, and remember, I'm a Fahrenheit guy, but I know enough about Celsius at this point to know that 18 is not too bad. That's not really hot at all. Then I see, that's what they have their climate control set to. 45 Celsius outside temp. I hope that their leather seats aren't black, which they probably are. Most cars seem to have black interiors these days, but either way, even if they're gray or beige, it doesn't matter. 45 degrees Celsius to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. That is brutal. Most people honestly never feel heat that bad. It, of course, depends on where you live. I actually have. Remember, I've lived in New Mexico, and there were a couple days in southern New Mexico around the Las Cruces, El Paso area that do get that hot, and actually that exact temp. I have a picture on my phone. Anyway, I could vouch for that. That is extremely hot and would literally melt your skin off if you sat on those leather seats if it was baking in the sun. We could kind of agree on that, I think. It might feel even hotter, honestly, in Australia because I feel like your sun just hits harder. That's what I've heard, and I believe it. Let's look at some more posts about the heat, and let me just remind you, I'm in a hoodie. It is another cold front. It started to get mild again where it was not so bad winter days, but it's been extremely cold and clearly proof that I'm living in a different world than y'all in the 45 degrees Celsius heat. All right, so this next post about the heat is absolute insanity. Snake catcher finds air fried. You heard that right. Air fried snake. Poor thing. On a 44 degrees Celsius day. 111 Fahrenheit in Australia. Take a look at this. This is actually insane. Does it have volume? Yes. Damn, dude. Like I'm buying it, right? Like I'm gonna assume that's not a toy or something. If this is real, and I think it is, this is frightening, man. That thing is burnt to a crisp. It's literally like, you see how stiff it is. And it's probably hot to the touch. Oh my God, man. This is a red-bellied black snake for those interested. This was originally posted by Snake Catchers Adelaide. Red-bellied black snake, they keep one of Australia's worst snakes away, too. The brown snake, one of our top 10 deadliest snakes in the world. Yeah, we don't want to see this guy go. That's terrible. Further proof, please be careful. You don't need to hear this from me, but let me tell you, be careful in the heat. Holy smokes, guys. I hear about the heat down there every summer for you guys, every winter for me. But, man, it still blows my mind how hot it can get, and it's in a lot of Australia. I feel like the extreme heat, when we're talking about temperatures like that, reach more people in Australia than it does here in the U.S., because the U.S. has extreme heat as well, but they're only in small pockets in like the Southwest and maybe parts of Texas, right? I feel like, we've gone over multiple times that Australia as a whole is much warmer as a whole, as a unit, than the U.S. is. The U.S. has varied extremes in more cold climates, I would think, than Australia does. Further proof of the heat, take a look at this one. My car got so hot, the thermal sticker on my mail turned completely black. That is crazy, man. But that's still not it. You want to know how hot it is in Australia? Well, the bees. Yes, the bees are drinking from a safety shower on a very hot day in Western Australia. I tell you what, you can't write this stuff. Look at that. Bees everywhere you look, and it's not a video, it's a picture. But I could just kind of tell that they're slurping that stuff up as much as they can, trying to cool off. Even as a bee, it would be damn hot buzzing around, wouldn't it? Put a little pond in my yard for all the critters outside, and the bees love it. The raccoons are rough on it, though. Yeah, raccoons, honestly, raccoons suck. They're rough on everything. I have had too many run-ins with raccoons on my property. They are really, really rough with stuff, man. They could be hella annoying. Alrighty, now, when you're out there in the desert in Australia and it's super hot, you might be, really hot, overheated. You might see a mirage, right? Well, this is not a mirage. You'd think it would be, but here it is. I guess this is way out in Cooper Pedy in Australia, of course. Spaceship movie prop. Now, yeah, imagine you walk up on this. Honestly, I'm sure this is in a populated area, so bear with me, okay? I'm trying to make the scenario interesting. But yeah, imagine you walk up, you see this. That would be pretty wild. This is really cool. It's so interesting when like movie props that are in great detail that are really, kind of striking get, left behind or left there. So, you can end up finding where they're at somewhere in public and just see them. I think that's really, really cool. My question is, what movie is this from? Please tell me if anybody knows. That would be awesome to find out. This steak looks a little bit like Australia. There you go. We always got to throw these in. It is amazing. Amazing. How many pictures of food, and I'm talking various food items, I see, that end up looking like Australia. I think they win. I don't see this about other countries. Australia's got a magical shape that even food imitates it. I love it. Take a look at this. All right. These are $2 coins, right? Yeah, $2 coins minted in Australia. Can you guess the years? I'll give you a couple seconds to guess. Shout out the TV, shout out the screen. I'm waiting. 1984 and 2022. Pretty cool to see the difference. And if you didn't know already, the answer was right here on both of them. So I'm trusting you. I hope you got that right. No, but it is cool to see the differences in details. Obviously, this one on the left is aged. It's been around for a while. But, even you could tell the initial details were a little bit more simple, a little bit weaker on the details, you could say. When you look at things like, crowns and hair, jewelry, it's amazing to see what they can put on a coin in the modern age. This is very detailed, in my opinion, and it looks pretty cool. All right, now time lapses are hella interesting to me, especially when it deals with big construction projects. This one is a time lapse of the construction of the Woronora River Bridge in Australia. And this was all the way back in 2001. Take a look at this. Let's watch it together. No music, please. These are awesome. Whoa, look at the way. Whoa. Oh, my goodness. It looks like it's skating through it. Or skating over the top of it. Dude, that is actually awesome. Look at that. Look at the finished product, dude. And it's filled with traffic every day. Look at it back here. Did they... It's almost like they're building it and sliding it out over to where it's supposed to go. Instead of like, I thought it was going to be like to build it, boom, 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 like one section, add a section, right? Like, as it goes over the footprint of where it's supposed to be. But it's almost like they added sections way back here and we're sliding it out. Is that what I'm looking at? Is that an illusion? These are always interesting to me. You know any more about that? If I'm crazy or what I'm looking at there, about that whole sliding out thing, let me know. Have you ever driven on this bridge? Hell, maybe you drive on it quite often. Now, you'd be mistaken if you thought the heat was over. I'm still showing you the heat. It's so hot, the bats. Yes, that's right. Bats are swimming in Australia. Take a look at this. That's freaky, man. I am not a fan of bats, by the way. I think they're gross. Oh, they're so weird. I've never really seen them up close. Oh, dude, they creep me out. Why do bats creep me out? If you like bats, good for you. No hate for me. I don't like bats. And we do have them here. Actually, everywhere I've lived. In New Mexico, we had them like crazy. They like palm trees around there in our neighborhood. And then here in Illinois, on our property, always at sunset, right when the sun's setting, they start flying around. And yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. Oh, that's so weird. But is that a common occurrence? Bats in the swimming pool down under? I would guess not, but how would I know? The bat stroke. There it is. That's Catwoman's signature move. Not touching it proves she knows how to handle that animal. That is true. I mean, she's got more bravery than me handling it, period. But the fact that she handled it carefully with the, obviously, the garment or whatever that was, she's smart. I wouldn't want to be touching that thing at all. So now on to another thing that kind of irks me out, right? I don't know how this works. You know, everyone has things they like and don't like. Sometimes you're not really sure why. But for me, another thing I don't like is mushrooms. I think they irk me out. They're kind of weird. I don't really like them. I don't like how some of them look. They're just weird to me. I'm not a fan of them. But I can appreciate cool things in nature, and these are awesome. These are literally ghost mushrooms found in Australia, naturally bioluminescent. You heard that right. Take a freaking look at these, dude. That is absolutely wild. I hope this is real, because I know with some of these pictures, it's almost hard to believe. And that's the theme here. But these are literally wild, dude. Like, things in nature that glow. I mean, I do believe this because we've seen caves that do this in Australia and New Zealand as well, that have different things that glow. And it's so freaking cool, dude. It's so sci-fi. It's so out of this world. These mushrooms come out each year on this dead tree after a rainy season. They are visible to the naked eye as a faint white glow in the forest. I've used a long exposure photography to gather more of its light. They are not this bright in real life. Okay, see, I appreciate that they posted this and laid out how this actually works. So these are technically pretty wild, like pretty bright, bioluminescent, but of course it looks a little more enhanced when you use long exposure photography. But I also appreciate it to show what these really do. It just wouldn't look like that with the naked eye. So I appreciate that, explanation. But yeah, I thought that was super cool. And did anyone know about these? Or maybe you have these on your property or something? Time-lapse of a storm cell that just hit us in Australia. Escalated quickly. Another time-lapse. Absolutely love these. I've seen some other storm lapses in Australia, and they're just spectacular. Big skies. Beautiful landscape here. Look at that. Look at that just take over. Oh, man. Dude, I feel like Australian storms hit hard. You guys get some truly crazy storms. Like, it could turn beautiful to hell real quick. Is that accurate? Look at that. Just take over, man. Well, there's an alien. Why are all the prettiest and coolest things so dangerous? That's usually how nature works. And why are they always in Australia? Cool Pokemon. Yeah, that's definitely accurate. At first glance, I would have believed that this was an alien from a movie or a Pokemon, but nope. It's just a blue dragon nudibranch from Australia. Another beautiful shot from Tasmania. Spectacular cloud inversion with the twilight glow. Yeah, it truly looks like you're up in the skies. A 2,000-year-old Antarctic beech tree in Australia. Absolutely fascinating. Look at that. Think, how has that been there that long? 2,000 years. If you had a time machine, right, you could just hop in and go back and you'd stay in this spot. To think that you could go back 700 years. How different the world was, right? But, hey, that beech tree is still there. Go back 500 more years. Still there. Go back 500 more years. Still there. Like, that doesn't sound real. It's incredible, and I know it is real, but it's so crazy. And yet, so many other things have such a short lifespan, you know? Now, this one I wouldn't believe unless I saw it, which I have seen this before, actually, but I had to throw this in there. This is with context as an American. You guys get tax return documents that show where your tax money was spent. Well, this should be a thing standard in every country on earth, right? You pay tons of taxes. The least they can do for taking a lot of your money is show you where it's supposedly going, right? Here you just get bent over and that's it. They take it, Uncle Sam, you don't know what he does with it. I think like when I pay my property taxes, they do show. That's very local, by the way. That's super local government. They show an itemized breakdown, but anything past that, bigger than that, you know, where a lot of money goes, no, I don't get a breakdown. They just take it. Love how the comments, we need this in the United States. Yeah, we do. We really, really do. Why that's not a thing in a country as big and famous and self-proclaimed awesome as the U.S., I will never know. Okay, gotta love this one. Using an Australian government app in Australia. Nationality. This is on order.telstra.com.au. Okay, seems legit. Enter the country listed on your passport and select it from the list. So they type in, they don't want to scroll through all the things, okay? Even though that should be towards the top. AU. One result showed Austria. Yes, where they have the Alps, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and kangaroos, right? Meanwhile, it says home, Australia. Yeah, that sounds like a government app. Ours are slightly worse. All right, now to end the video, just a couple cool news clips and some interesting things, and we'll get out of here. Jordan Mailata becomes the first Australian to win a Super Bowl. So, yeah, the Super Bowl was this past weekend, or last weekend, I guess. That's the big NFL, championship game, essentially. And they do have some international players in NFL, and I was not aware of this. The Philadelphia Eagles won, of course, and they have an Australian player. So I think that's really cool. He looks like a big guy, so maybe he's like a offensive or defensive lineman, maybe a D-end, maybe a linebacker, I'm not sure. But congrats to the Eagles, and congrats to Jordan. That's an Australian with the big Super Bowl ring he'll be getting very soon. Very nice. He was a former South Sydney Rabbitohs junior as well. Good for him. That's really cool. Jesse Williams technically got a ring from their 2013 squad. I don't know anything about that. I don't know who that is either. Apparently, it's still basically true that he's the first Australian to play for the winning team and win. So, yeah, that's cool. In other news, this is life in Australia when you come home. Or when late professor's wife came home and found this guy at our front door. Now, I suppose this can happen in a lot of different places, but somehow this is still so Australian. And then finally, an image of Australia taken from space by Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost lunar lander. So shout out to these guys. I don't know who that is, but hi. With the Aussie flag. And there it is. Look at that image of Earth, Australia front and center. There you go. That's the angle. That looks pretty cool. Makes Earth look like really watery and just Australia. But I like it. It's pretty neat. And then finally, some not so fun things to look out for. You'll have to tell me if you've ever seen stuff like this. This would be pretty petty by these businesses. Not fun, right? But unfortunately, that seems to be a theme in a lot of our lives lately. This restaurant placed a sticker over the no tip option to force customers, to leave a tip. So you could see, you tap your cards, scan it, whatever. There's your total, and then it shows, 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever the things are. And then down here is usually skip or no tip, and you hit that and you go, and you finish your transaction. They've covered it up on the screen with these, sticky note things. Tip, thank you. They've covered it up. Now, I don't know if you could still, I'm sure it would register your finger, hitting this, but people might not know that that's covering that up. They might not know there's an option to skip right here. So, yeah, that's an asshole move. And then you got to love when people design certain buildings, actuator for automatic door for handicap nearly at the ceiling. So if someone's in a wheelchair, they're looking for the actuator. How in the hell are they going to reach that? Pretty shitty design flaw, I will say. Gotta love it, right? That is it for this episode. That was a lot of fun. I hope you guys, like I said, are having a great day, having a great weekend, staying cool, and, staying hydrated. Don't get burnt out there. And as for me, well, I don't want to be cool. I want to stay warm because it's really cold outside right now. It's also really dry. The humidity's been super low. Very weird for this, for the Midwest of the U.S. But we're doing good. We're making it. Like I said, have a great weekend. I appreciate you watching. Can't wait to see you down in the comments. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. I'll catch you later.